Right. Okay. Um, Okay, so as a summary from our previous session to today's session, we can use the loops and we discuss while and for loop. What you need to remember is whenever you know how many times you need to repeat something, you can always, or best suitable statement is for. And if you don't know how many iterations or how many times you have to repeat something, then it is recommended that you go with while. So that's the summary about the repetitions or the loops. Okay, today I'm going to talk about mainly two things, and then after this we'll discuss about developing menu programs. Since we have learned a little bit of programming, how we can design a simple text menu. And for that, we need to discuss something called jump statement. The term jump we use to go from one place of the code to another place. Ideally, we understood in the beginning that when program execute, we go from top to bottom, right? There's a sequence, right? And sometimes you can go from one place to another place. So that's why the jump statement meaning that you going from one place in the code to another place, right? Okay, so when you think about the Python programming, we discuss three jump statements. Those are break, continue, and return. So the return keyword we will discuss under the topic of functions. So today I'm going to look at the break statement, and I will explain what break statement means and its uses. So to explain that, I have a small code, but if you look it, I know that it looks a bit difficult or a bit complex. So let me explain one at a time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get Python shell. So let me open up a Python shell. And then, okay, let me share it. Okay, so I hope you can see now. I'm going to open up a new file. Okay, new window. Let me split the screen. Right, I put up the screen to two parts. Yes. So this is my new one. Let me switch because I want to share the slide as well. Right. Okay. We'll start with the slide. Okay. I need your help to understand or explain what happens within the code. Right. So tell me what happens in this code, right? That's your task. I will type a code. Right. This is a code. Without you try this out, can you tell me what happens in this code? Yes. Any answers? I got one answers. Okay, two. Others, please. I need your. Okay, good. I think you should try it, and you can always make mistakes. Not to worry. Right. So let me run this. So we know that when you have just one value, we specify the stop. So which means you start with 0, 1, 2, 3, goes up to 9, right? So ideally, this should print numbers from 1 to 9. Good. Okay, we understand this code, right? Okay. Now I'm going to make a change and then you should answer my question, right? Okay. What I'm going to do now, right? I'm going to make some changes to the code. The change is, I will put this n equals int input number. I'm requesting a number from the user, right? And I will put n here, right? So now I'm going to run. And it has a number. I'm going to put 10. Now, what is the outcome of this code? Yes, again, no change because n is 10. Then for I in range will be 10, right? So again, there's no change. But you see now it depends on the user input, right? It depends on the user input. For example, if I do this, what is the outcome? If I run this, if I put 5, okay? And I hope you then now you understand this, right? So it totally depends on what user inputs, and that will be in, and you go to range in. So in this particular case, I put 5, which means the loop becomes for I in range 5, right? When I say 5, you have to start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Right. I think we are good. Now let me tell what happens in the break statement. Now, when I put break, I'm going to explain break, right? When Python interpreter makes or meet break, it will break the loop. It will come out the loop. It won't run again. You got me? So usually we put the break statement inside loop. Whenever Python interpreter sees break statement, it will come out from the loop. Okay. Now you can see I'm getting a number from the user, and then depend on the number, I'm going to repeat this, and you print it and we break it. I will explain the break statement. What it does, it will break the loop. It will come out from the loop. Right now, can you guess? Right? What is the output if I put a break here? Think very carefully. Whenever Python meets break, it will break the loop. So what is the outcome of this code? Okay, okay, good. I mean, you will get the answer. So let me put some values. Let me put 10. You might assume that this will run 10 times. No, because as soon as it prints 0, because 0 is the first value, we have break statement. Doesn't matter what we have, right? Let me put 25. Still we get 0, and then it will come out. Let me put 5. Just 0, because it will print it. As soon as print it, we have break statement. Okay, great. Now I'm going to make it more complex, right? Let me put it this way. I will say if I greater than 9, we say break. So what happens now? Think about it. It will not immediately break, right? isn't it? We have a if statement. When it is going to break, when value of I is greater than 9, right? Greater than 9. So for example, give me an answer for this one, right? Think carefully again. If you can this answer for the first time when I ask, and if your answer is correct, that means you are really good, right? And don't worry if you do not understand. Some of you might need more time to digest. What you need to know is what break does. What break does, as soon as Python meets a break, it will break the loop. What do you mean by break the loop? This is a for loop. It will run for some time. But as soon as you meet the break statement, it will come out, right? Okay, so I'm going to put 5 as in. Can you tell me what will happen? Yes, when I put 5, it will be a range 5. When you say range 5, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know that it will print it. It won't meet break because the value will not go beyond 9, right? So therefore, if you enter, you will get 0 to 4. No change. Why is that? Because always I is not greater than 9. If it is more than 9 only, it will break, right? You understand? Okay, let me give you one last run. Let me put 25. Now think about it. So when you put 25, n will be 25. Then range will be 25, which means ideally we expect it to run from 0, 1, 2, 3, right? The last number will be 24, right? Think about it. So ideally, if we don't have break statement, it will print numbers from 0, 1, 2. The last number will be 24. So another thing that you have to notice, it will print the number, then it will break it. So when I is 9, will it break? We know that it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. 9. Let's see, n is 9. Then print I means it will print 9. And we are checking whether 9 is greater than 9. No. So it won't meet break. So it pass. Then what will happen? Then I is 10. It will print 10. Then you check. 10, is it greater than 9? Is it greater than 9? Yes. Then you meet the break. You got my point, right? If you want, you can draw the trace table always, right? And let me put this. It goes from 0 to 10. It will print 0 to 10. So the answer for this is, okay, there's a question, why 10, right? Let me explain. We'll do the trace table. I told you, those who have difficulty, always draw the trace table. So what is the trace table for this one? We can have a column to indicate how many times the loop repeat. I'll put T. Then what are the variables? We have n, right? N will not change, n will be the same. Then we have I, right? And let me put another column for the output as well, because we want to see what numbers will print output. Right. Now let me start now. We'll start with the first line. We'll request a number from the user, right? Okay. So I'm going to assume that initial one, that means we didn't go inside this loop. So therefore I will put a dash here. Initially let's say we enter 25. So we have 25. There's no value assigned for I. There's no output, right? Okay, so that's the start. Now we come here. We know since n is 25, this will be range 25. So it will iterate over the numbers. The first value will be 0. So when it runs for the first time, I will be 0. Okay. And there's no change for n, so I'm not going to update this column. So it will always 25. And then what happens? It will print, right? You say print I. So it will output 0. Output means it will print 0. Then it goes to the next value. That means second time. The second value is 1. So it will print 1. Then you check whether 1 is greater than 9. No. So nothing will happen. Third round, I will be 2. Output will be 2. 2 is not greater than 2. Then fourth iteration, I will be 3. It will output 3. 3 is not greater than 9. So this will continue. Right? So when the loop repeat for 10th time, right? I will be 9 and it will print 9. Okay. Next, when loop repeat for the 11th time, I is 10 and it will print I. So output will be 10. Then you check. I is 10, right? 10, is it greater than 9? Yes, you have break statement. Whenever you have break statement, you come out from the loop and it will not repeat again. So therefore, whatever the number you enter, right? If the value, right? The I value. So it will print 10, then it will come out from the loop. So if you have less than 10, then it will print all the numbers. But if you have more than 10, then it will print up to 10. Okay, a summary is, are you now familiar with the break statement? What break statement does? It will break the loop. That's what you need to remember. So you have to remember that if you see a break statement, whenever Python interpreter meets the break statement, it will break the loop, right? Which we will discuss later on, which is again very helpful. Right. Okay, so I'm going back. So let's clean. Okay, let's move to the next one. Right? In this particular code, we have another statement saying at the end of the loop, we say print done, which indicates that we have finished everything. So let me run this again. For your information, what will happen with this? If you have, let's say, 5, it will print 0 to 4 and then done. And if you have any value beyond 10, so let me put 10, then it goes to 9, right? Remember, if you put 10, what will happen? Range 10, 0 to 9. Nothing will happen, right? It will print all the numbers. 10, again, it will print up to 9. Then, if you say 11, then it goes to 10. And if you put any value beyond 11, let's say 25, the last value will print is 10. Let's put a very big value. Again, it will end up like this. So break statement, what we need to remember or discuss, it will break the loop. So if you go back to the note, what we discussed, the program will break the loop and continue after the loop. So whenever I goes more than 9, it will break and then execute the remaining part. Any questions on this? Okay, no questions. Then I'll move again, right? So we have completed one statement, which is called break, right? I'm going to discuss next one, which we call continue statement, right? What continue means, right? It'll continue with the next iteration. So whatever comes after the continue will not be executed. I will explain, right? Again, I will take, a new file. New file. Okay, so continue statement. So what continue does, it goes always to the next iteration. So let me put like this: for I in range, let's say 1, 11. So let me say print I, right? So let me save this. So this is program number 30. So what is the outcome of this code? What is the outcome? Yes. We have two values, start and stop. Start with 1, goes up to the last one. That means it will print numbers from 1 to 10, right? Yes. Okay. So what is this now? So now we have two print statements within the loop. So if I say 1, 11, I goes from 1 to 10, not include 11, then we have print I, then done. Yes. When I is 1, it will print 1, then done. Right? So how many dones? It will repeat 10 times, right? After each number, you have to have done, right? Think about it. You print 1, done. 2, done. 3, done. 4, done. 5, done. 6, done. Yes? Okay. Let me run. You should guess now because you should now familiar with the codes. Yes? Now let me put continue. What continue does, right? It will go to the next iteration without executing anything after that. I will repeat what continue does. It will go to the next iteration without executing anything after that. So what happens? So let's say we start with 1, then it will print 1. It says continue. So it goes to the next value. I is 2 then. Print 2, then say continue. What happens? Although we have this statement, it's after continue. Therefore, right? It will not print it. There's no done. Agree? Yes, got it? Think about it again. So continue means go to the next iteration. So when you say next iteration, if I is 1, then it goes to the next value. So for example, if I start with the first one, it will print 1, continue. It goes to the second value. Then it will print 2, continue. Then print 3, continue. Finally, it will print 10, right? Continue, nothing to continue, you come out, right? Exactly. But break will break, right? This will say continue, but continue, you are not going to execute whatever the values after this. Okay, now I think I can explain. Right, now instead of this, what we have is total, right? So I'm going to put this. See whether you understand this. Total equals 0, right? And then we have continue. Instead of this, I will put total equals total plus I. And finally, so what happens now? Again, read it carefully from the beginning. Right. Okay. So let me explain now. So we have a total variable. And what you notice is we are trying to add I to the total. Ideally, if the continuous statement is not there, it will add numbers from 1 to 10 and we'll get 55. Now we have continuous statement. So what happens? When I is 1, it will print 1, continue. Or go to the next one. Then I is 2, print 2, then again continue. Go to the next value. So what happens? Right? So this statement will not be executed. Let me show you. When I say run module, it says it will print all the numbers from 1 to 10, but finally it shows us the total as 0. Right? Okay. Now let me focus this one. We have values going from 1 to 11, and we say something like this. See whether you understand. If I mod 2 equal to 0, then we'll say continue. So can you guess what will happen? What do you mean by this statement? We say I mod 2. That means you divide I by 2, right? You divide I by 2. Yes. And then what happens? And you check the remainder. And it says if the remainder is 0, what will happen? The remainder is 0 means they are even numbers, right? And we say continue. For the even numbers, we say continue. That means we are not going to add any even numbers, right? We are not adding any even numbers. See whether you can understand this. Again, I will repeat. So here what we will do, we say we get the number, divide by 2 and the remaining. And we are checking whether the remaining is 0. When we are checking remaining is 0, which means we are checking whether the number is an even number. If the number is even number, we say continue. Continue means it will not go after this one, it will go to the next iteration. So that means if you have an even number, it will not be added to the total. So now what are the numbers we are going to add here? We'll add 1, then 3, then 5, 7, 9, right? That's all. So if I run this, now you should understand what happens in this piece of code. That basically it will iterate from 1 to 10, but it will add, right? It will add I to the total provided that I is an even number. So we'll have 1 plus 3, that is 4, plus 5, 9, plus 7, 16, plus 9, 25. So that's how we get the number. Right. So some of you have actually asked me to repeat again. So may I repeat with the tracer table because that's easier for me, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a trace table. So what are the values we have to consider? Okay, we will take care of how many times the loop repeats. And then we have variable I. Then we can check, or we can have total. And if you want, we can have output as well. So let me put everything output. So let's start from the beginning. Initially, total is 0. Okay. Now you move to the for loop. For loop takes the first value, that is 1, right? It repeats for the first time. I is 1. It will print I, so it will output 1, right? Then you check. You have 1, divide by 2. The remainder, that is 1. Is it equal to 0? No. So then nothing will happen here. Nothing will happen. Then it will add it to the total. Total will be updated. The total is 1. Right. Now you go to the next iteration. I is 2. So the second time, I is 2. Right. You print 2. Then you divide 2 by 2. Is it 0? Yes. Then it says continue. Nothing will happen to the total. Total will be 1. Because it's not added to the total. Next, I is 3. Third time, I is 3. Output is 3. And is it divisible by 2? No, right? It won't happen anything here. Then it will add to the total. This becomes 4. Then the next iteration, I is 4. I is 4. It will print 4, but nothing will change. Total, it will not be added to the total, and total is the same value as previous one. Yes. Then fifth iteration, I is 5. It will print 5. Yes. 5 divided by 2, is it equal to 0? No. Then it will says, it goes to the, it won't go back. It goes to the next line, that is total. It adds to the total. So that is 9. and you can continue. Okay, Shakir, is it clear now? So if you keep on doing that, what happens whenever you have a even number, it won't add it to the total. So it'll add 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, and then 9. Shakir? Okay. So I hope you got some understanding about how the continue statement works. So we completed our discussion, break and continue. When we have break statement, it will break the loop. It will come out. If you have continue statement, continue means it won't go after that, you know, the statement. It goes to the next iteration, right? Good. Okay, I think we are good to go. Any questions, please? Right. Assuming that you have no questions, that you have very clear everything, which we are going to test with the quiz, we'll move to the next one. Let's have some fun, which means we'll create some menu-driven programs. I'm not going to explain graphical user interfaces. Of course, we will discuss later on, but let's at least we'll discuss what we have learned so far to develop simple text-based menus. And there I'm going to explain how we may use break statement. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So we'll start with the menu-driven programs. Of course, when you are developing a program to be very interesting, you have to have some menus, which indicates that you can perform various different tasks. So it's like a menu. You go out and then you request a menu, and then you are going to decide what you're going to do. Similar thing. So therefore, whenever we develop a piece of software, right, in development, we might have a couple of choices and user is going to decide what to do. Okay, right. And then we will see, we are going to make the menu display again and again until we finish. Okay, right. So let's start this with an example. The simple example is I want to generate some menu like this, right? And you can notice that what we are going to do is we are going to simply print some patterns, right? And then we want to exit from the program, right? Are we ready? Yes, let's start. So let me take a new window for this. So I'm going to go back to my code. Let me close this. Let me open up new file, right? So what I'm planning to do is, first of all, we want to print a simple menu, right? Now, to print a simple menu like this, we can use print statement, right? So we can say print. And we know that we have multi-line strings, so we can use 3 triple quotes. We will say menu for printing pattern, right? And then we can have a couple of dashes. Right? And then I can type what I need to do. I want to print a square. Second one, I want to print a right angle, triangle. Third one, I want to print inverted. Finally, I want to exit. Right? That's all. So let me save this. So multi-line string, we have already done this earlier. So let me save it. So this is program number 31. So let me run. Okay, I forgot the close bracket for print. That was the error. And this is my menu, right? So it will print it. Okay, now after that, thanks, Shaki. After that, we need to get the choice. Now, what we need to do is based on the choice, right? We want to repeat this. So that means we have to have an input statement. So we need, let me say it's choice. We say int input, enter your choice. And we are indicating that user has to enter from 1 to 4. Right? So it's like this. Right? If you rerun again, run. So this is what will happen. It asks me to enter 1 to 4. I can type any number, let me say 3. And still nothing works. Right? But we have a menu right now. We have a menu. Right? That's all. Okay. Now let me explain the break statement. Now what I'm going to do, this will repeat only one time, right? So what I want to do is, I want to repeat this as far as I know. So therefore, I'm going to use while loop and I will put true. I hope you remember this, right? And then I'll put inside this bracket. Now what happens? If I run this, see what will happen, right? It will print the menu. I can type any number. It will repeat. So if I want to break this, now this is a never-ending loop. Now you know what to do. If I want to break this, what should I do? Now, right now, if I put 4, nothing will happen. It will repeat. Now, what I want to do is to break this loop. When I put 4, what should I do? Give me, where should I make the change? Yes. When I say while true, it always true. So it will always display my menu and it requests the choice. Now, what I want to update is when user puts 4, I have to finish this loop. So what is the course? What is the code that I have put inside? When I want to finish, when user enters 4. Exactly, we have to use a decision, right? We have to check whether choice is 4. If choice is 4, what we should do? Right? We have to check. What we have to check? If choice equals 4, then we have to say what? Can you tell me what I should type here? I have to say break. Yes, of course. This is what we discussed so far. Break. Now let me run. I have to first stop this previous code. So since it is keep on running, I have to say Control C, and then I'll go back. And now I can rerun. When I say run module. Okay, so it display the menu. Fine, I can type anything, right? Okay, let's say I'm finished. Then I put 4, that will end. I hope now you understood why we need a break statement, right? Especially when you want to repeat something and And as soon as you want to finish it, you can use a break statement. Okay, so now let me implement the first one, and I will ask you to implement the second and third, right? So I want to print the square when I press 1. So let me implement that, right? So I can check like this. I will say if choice equals 1, I want to print square. So let me say square is something like 5 by 5. So if it is 5 by 5, you know that for I in range 1, 6, and then I can say print statement, right? Let me use a star. I multiply by, let's say, 5 times. Okay. So let me run this, run module. Okay, let me put 1. You can notice as soon as I put 1, it will print a square. Although it's not look as a square, you can see we have 5 by 5, right? Ideally, it's a square. But then if I want to leave, I can put 4. I can come out, right? And here is the code for that. And actually, what you could do is you can use elif statement if you want. Else, if I can combine from the previous one. If choice is 1, you do this, you print the square. Otherwise, if the choice is 4, then you say break. So you can include the other 2 inside. Okay. Let's take some time. Can you implement the choice number 2 and 3 as well? So now if the choice is 1, we are printing 5 by 5 square, right? Okay. And the second one we want to do is right angle triangle. When I say right angle triangle, it should be like this. Let me say, let me take a notepad to explain this. Right. So let's say we have a notepad here. And with that, I'm trying to explain the 3 patterns. So the first pattern that I thought is something like this. You have 5 stars, and then this will repeat 5 times. And that's what I actually did. So although I said square, what I meant was I actually developed something like this, right? Okay. The second one, we want to say right angle triangle. And if I say 5 by 5, ideally what I want to do something like this. Right? Third pattern is the other way around. I will start with like this, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, like this. Right? These are the 3 patterns I expected you to try. And we discussed, right, the answer for the first one. What we do is we got 1 star multiplied by 5 times so that we get this. And then we repeated this for 5 times when I say 1, 6. Right. Going back to the second one, I can do the same. So what I want to do is I have to repeat for 5 times, right? So I will say same range function. I can say 1, 6. And what I want to do is I want to first multiply with 1, then multiply with 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So that means I have to say I, right? And this is what I want to do. So let me run and show you the answer. So if I say run module, this is what we are getting. If you put 1, you get this answer, right? You see the pattern. If I put 2, now we are getting this pattern. And it will display the menu again, right? We say 1 and 2. Again 1. It works like this. When I put 4, it'll come out, right? Okay. So going back, if you want to go the other one, then first you have to multiply by 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, right? So most of you had issues with that, but let's look at carefully. I have to say I in range, it should be 5, comma 0, comma minus 1. Because remember, we have to, after 5, we need 4. So the step is minus 1. So I have to multiply this. Again, there are many answers. I have seen some of you have done it differently. It's perfectly all right, as far as you get the correct answer. So now let me run my code, whole code. So if I do this, if I say 1, this is what we get. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Whenever I put 4, it will come out from the loop. Right. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to explain in this part. And basically what I want to highlight is how to uh, use what we call the jump statement. We discussed to, break, and continue. And then here we have done an example using break statement to implement menu-driven programs.